everyone, and welcome to the Foster Files, a podcast about animal rescue and welfare. My name is Kelly, and every week I talk about issues surrounding animals in this country and to the people who are passionate about making their lives better. Got another solo episode for you this week, and I wanted to talk about the insufferable heat that is happening on the East Coast, in the Midwest, Mid-Atlantic, and in the South. It is currently 4th of July week, 2026. This podcast is going to be coming out on Wednesday, which is July 1st. And I think that a lot of people who listen to this podcast already know that you're not supposed to leave your dog in the car, and you're not supposed to leave your dog unattended in this heat without proper water, without proper shade, without proper shelter. I want to take it a little bit deeper, and I want to talk about just how quickly a hot car can get too hot for a dog. I want to talk about, in the state of Pennsylvania, what Libre's law really is in relationship to extreme weather, including extreme heat. And then, for those of you that consider yourself animal welfare vigilantes, I want to talk about the legal protections that you do and don't have, and what you can and can't do when you do see an animal that is in distress as far as this heat is concerned. Because if you guys are going to be advocating for animals in Pennsylvania or in your state, I want to make sure that you're not doing it in a way where you can get yourself arrested or get yourself sued. So this will be a short episode, but I'm going to go over a couple of things. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about is how long does a dog need to be in a car in order for that car to get too hot? And a simple Google search is going to tell you that it really does obviously depend on the day, but on an 85-degree day, interior temperatures can spike to 102 degrees in a vehicle in as little as 5 to 10 minutes. So that is really just the case with a quick trip into the grocery store, a quick in and out at the post office, can have your car in that heat long enough to now the dog is in, or the animal is in distress. Even on a mild day, according to Google search, 68 degrees can reach 115 degrees in an hour. Obviously, the sun has a lot to do with it. Having tinted windows and leaving windows open unfortunately doesn't really significantly reduce that. But a dog is already running a little bit hotter than humans do. Those of you kind of in the know and have taken a dog's temperature know that a dog usually runs from 99.5 degrees to 102 degrees on a normal day. So when they get to 104, 105, first of all, it doesn't take nearly as long to get that internal temperature. And now you are in heat stroke risk. So even for those of us that are super savvy and love our animals and would never, quote unquote, leave our dog in a hot car, I think that it's really eye-opening to see just how quickly that can all break down. So the next thing that I want to talk about is Libre's law. Now, as you guys know, all of these animal welfare and animal protection laws are going to vary state to state. We had a significant law upgrade in Pennsylvania about 10 years ago. I talked to Janine from Speranza Animal Rescue about the work that she did to help PA legislatures get to this new law. And I'm not going to go into depth of the entirety of the new law, but it really is about the conditions for dogs and what's going to be considered cruelty and what's going to be considered not cruelty. And it also takes some of these cruelty charges from a misdemeanor to a felony. And so this just really harsher penalties for animal cruelty instances. But when we're talking about extreme heat, we are talking about a dog cannot be tethered outside for more than 30 minutes when the temperature is above 90 degrees, which it is going to be all this week and through this weekend, or of course below 30 degrees, which I'm sure we will see again here in Pittsburgh very soon. But ultimately, even if it's not above 90 degrees, the dog must have access, a dog that's tethered outside must have access to water, access to shade. The tether must be well fitted and have appropriate mechanisms to not have entanglement or choking. And the leash must be at least 3 times the length of the dog or 10 feet long, whichever is longer. And the dog cannot be tethered for more than 9 hours in a 24-hour period. Again, That completely goes out the window when the temperature is above 90 degrees like it is right now. The limit is 30 minutes. So again, for those of you that consider yourselves animal vigilantes, you are in the grocery store and you're in the grocery store parking lot and you see a dog in a car on a hot day. What can you do? What are you allowed to do in order to, free this dog from a bad situation, especially if you're seeing signs of distress, right? The dog is excessively panting. Or maybe the dog isn't panting at all, and now we've moved into a really bad situation where it's not responding to you, where it's lethargic, and this dog is clearly in distress. So I'm going to talk about Pennsylvania, and then I'm going to kind of point you towards, if you're in another state, what you can do. But here's the thing. In Pennsylvania, a regular person, someone that is not a first responder, someone that is not a police officer or an animal welfare officer or like a fireman, you are not legally protected if you break a window of a car or if you take an animal that is tethered for more than 30 minutes. You're not legally protected in any way. So that means that you can be arrested for probably vandalism or, depending on the situation, breaking and entering. I don't know how all that works, but you can be arrested. That's probably all you need to know. And you can be civilly charged too, right? So if you do damage to somebody's property, they can sue you for that damage. Now, listen, I'm not saying I agree with that. Like, if I see a dog in distress in a car, I'm not even saying that I wouldn't break the window. Or if I see a kid distressed in the dark, again, I'm sure that the laws are different for children. I'm not saying that I wouldn't break a window. I'm just saying, like, inform yourself so you know exactly what you're getting into if you do decide to break a window. And try to release that dog. But if you do see a dog in distress, you can call 911. This is not a non-emergency situation. You can call 911, let them know where you are, obviously, and see the dog in distress. And then the other tip that Humane Animal Rescue of Pittsburgh gives is video the situation. So the video is going to provide, obviously, proof of the distress of the animal, which can help, with animal cruelty charges. And the video is also going to provide us with like a timestamp of what's going on. So depending on how long you're videoing for before the owner comes back out to the vehicle, or how long, like what time you video, can help police an investigation of like how long was this animal in the vehicle. So call 911 and video. Now, as far as Libre's law is concerned, if you see that the animal, again, is actively in distress and you are thinking, this animal is going to die in the next hour or so, or a couple hours if I don't do something, again, call 911. But if you are thinking that it is less of a, this animal is going to die situation, but you are concerned about Libre's law being violated, you can look up the humane officer for your area. Literally a simple Google search got me there in a click. I will post the link to that in the show notes for the state of Pennsylvania. I think most of my listeners are in Pennsylvania, so that's a really good place to start. But you can Google it. Humane officer in my area. If I see an animal distress in my area, who do I call? And again, if you're unable to find the right contact, then certainly call 911. What I see a lot of, just kind of in my space and in my world, is I see a lot of people posting on social media, hey, I see this dog or I see this cat in distress. What do I do? And we all know that social media is just like a den of garbage. And while there are nuggets of really good pieces of information out there, there's also a lot of junk. So I don't know that that's going to be my first resource for literally anything. So I would encourage you to maybe use some search tools, maybe go to a large animal rescue organization in your area. And if you have a question, their website is potentially going to have some really good resources. If you need to use social media, go on to that animal rescue organization's social media and get some tips there. But in the state of Pennsylvania, you are not allowed to break a window. So I did want to give you, in case you are in other states, some other resources about those states. So this is according to an article from Animal Legal Defense Fund.org. So this is a article that is a little bit dated. This was published in 2017. So your state may have updated some things since then. But again, as of May of 2017, only 8 states have Good Samaritan laws that allow any person to break a window to save a pet. California, Colorado, Indiana, Massachusetts, Wisconsin, Florida, Ohio, and Tennessee. At the time of this article in 2017, Alabama and Arizona had bills pending. In 6 of those states, Good Samaritans must first contact law enforcement before breaking into the car in order for their actions to be legal. So again, law enforcement needs to be contacted first. And those states are California, Florida, Massachusetts, Ohio, Tennessee, and Wisconsin. In 19 states, only public officials such as law enforcement and humane officers can legally break into a car to rescue an animal. Arizona, California, that's contradictory. Oh, this article is contradicting itself. And then in New Jersey and West Virginia, it's illegal to confine an animal in a hot car. No one has authority to break into a vehicle and save the animal, not even law enforcement. So that sucks. Those states need to get updated if they haven't already. Ultimately, there's a lot of information out there that you can find about your state. The way that I found out about Pennsylvania is I asked Google specifically, what am I allowed to do in Pennsylvania? And then I was able to get the information that I needed. So it's a really hot week. Make sure that your animals have plenty of water. Make sure that your animals have plenty of shade. Make sure they have access to, air conditioning if that's something that you're able to offer. If you are somebody that is in distress yourself, with either for your own safety or also with your animals, please look up cooling centers in your area. There are cooling centers in areas that do accept animals. There also are a lot of rescue organizations in different areas that will temporarily take in your animal if you do need to go to a cooling center that does not allow you to bring your animal with you. So ultimately, I know that this situation can be very difficult and very challenging, but please ask for help, find your resources, search for help. And ultimately, if you are somebody that does not know how to figure out these resources and you are in need of help, if you email me at the Foster Files podcast at gmail.com, I will move heaven and earth to find the help that you need for you and your animal. So yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about this week. I hope everybody has a nice holiday. I know there's a lot going on in the United States right now that, at least personally, makes me think about not celebrating the 4th of July, but I am happy to spend time with friends, spend time with family, and appreciate a little bit of time off work in the middle of summer. So stay safe out there. Please, if you're considering lighting off fireworks, don't do it. If you haven't already refilled your dog's trazodone, make sure you do that, because 4th of July is a time where lots of animals go missing. So stay safe. And remember, you can follow us on Instagram at the Foster Files Podcast. You can email me, like I said, at the fosterfilespodcast at gmail.com. And if you haven't already subscribed to the newsletter, please do that. But thank you so much for listening, and be kind to yourselves and be kind to animals.